Hello, 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 and welcome. Have you been doing everything right, taking your GLP-1 medication, and weeks go by, and that scale is just not moving? It's not going up, it's not going down, it's just stalled. And I know that this can really mess with your mind. It's happened to me. You start to ask yourself, is the medication working? Did I do something wrong? Is this as far as I'm going to go on this medication? Has anybody thought that? Will I ever lose any more weight? If this is where you are right now in your journey, I want you to listen to me clearly. You are not a failure. Your medication has not stopped working. It just may be adapting to your body. I'm going to share with you one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they get into the plateau or stall stage of their weight loss is they start panicking. You panic and then you change everything and you do it too quickly. So let's just slow things down. In this video, I want to walk you through what to do when your weight loss stalls, what might be going on, and the exact mindset and actions that you could do to get that scale moving. Now, you may be saying, how does she know? I have been there, done that, and probably will go through it again. I have been taking Mounjaro for 2 years, over 2 years, and the medication is life-changing, but it has not been an easy breezy road. I am down over 86 pounds and I'm just happy with my progress, but I have been moving slow and steady. If you're one of those people like me that is a slow and steady loser, or you're a slow responder, stick around because this video is for you. Now, I want you to know sometimes the answer is not to do more. Sometimes the answer is just making sure we're doing the right things. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. The hardest part of any weight loss journey is the stalls or the plateaus of it all, right? I mean, it is the frustration of feeling like you're doing all the things and the scale is not moving. We hear a lot of times about people who have the huge weight loss. And I know a lot of us are wondering, why isn't that happening for me? When you first start, a lot of people see changes early on. So it could be your food noise is gone. That's a great one. Your appetite is suppressed. The scale starts moving. Your clothes start fitting better. And most of all, you feel hopeful. Did you feel that? I felt like when I started this medication and I saw the results and the scale going down and down, even though it was in little increments, I thought there is hope for me. Once I got past that 20-pound mark, which I always used to get to 20 pounds, then things would stall out for me. Once I got over that hump with this medication, for me, I knew that was a sign that this medication would work for me. When the weight loss is not where we want it to be, what do? We start comparing ourselves, right? We start looking online and looking at other people that are losing, and we start asking ourselves, what are we doing wrong? Why aren't we losing? A lot of people, this is when they start getting on that scale every day, checking in, not just every day, every time they eat or every so many hours. And then when you're not seeing the results or that scale fluctuates, people get in panic mode and they start thinking, what? I'm going to go up in a higher dose. I'm going to get on that higher dose, and that's going to make me lose weight. I'm going to stop right here and tell you, going up on a dose does not guarantee you're going to lose more weight. Take it from me, somebody who has experienced this. Going up to a higher dose does not always equal weight loss. So that's the lesson here. Now, when all these things start to happen, you start to feel out of control. And when you feel out of control, what do? You either over-restrict yourself or you feel emotionally exhausted from the stress of what everybody else is doing. And we know when that stress hormone, cortisol, kicks in, it is not good for our sleep and it is not good for weight loss. What people don't realize is that your body is constantly adapting to the medication. So we have to let it do its job. We have to not be in a rush, not feel panicked, but let the medication do its job. There's a lot that can be going on with your body. If you're not eating enough protein, if you're not eating enough fiber, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not moving enough, moving gets the bowels moving, so the constipation of it all, getting sick from under eating, all those things can play into a stall or a plateau. And let's not forget about the hormones and the menopause of it all. So the scale may not reflect the whole picture. It might not show everything your body is going through. But the truth is something is happening. It's just not happening in the dramatic way that you may have wanted it to. So first of all, let's talk about what a stall actually is. Let's get into that really quick. So a stall is not just a bad day, not just a bad week. A stall is when your weight has basically been unchanged for several weeks at a time, even though, this is important, you've been doing everything else consistently. So you have not changed any of your habits. You didn't indulge in anything. You didn't add extra calories. You've been doing the same thing that you were doing when you were losing, but you're not seeing the results. You are stuck or stalled out at that weight. So that is a true stall. This is important to note because a lot of times when we see fluctuations in our weight, we call that a stall, and it's not a stall or a plateau. I just want to make sure we're clear on that. So before you panic, I want you to ask yourself, have I truly stalled, or have I just hit a normal pause in my weight loss? This question alone can actually save you a lot of frustration. Now that we've answered that question, let's look at your habits. I don't want you to beat yourself up, feel guilty, feel like you're doing anything wrong. I just want you to be honest about what you're doing. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to ask yourself. Now, don't click off here, because this is where you're going to figure out if you're truly in a stall and what you could possibly do about it. I want you to ask yourself, am I eating enough protein? Am I drinking enough water? Am I moving consistently? Am I grazing or snacking more than I realize? Am I having the little extras that add up? So, like barbecue sauce or your favorite pasta sauce that might have a lot of added sugars. Am I skipping meals and then overeating later? Am I sitting more than usual? And am I sleeping poorly? I want you to ask yourself those questions, because sometimes the medication is helping, but our habits have gotten a little bit too loose and is holding the medication back from doing its job. A lot of times when people think of a stall, they think I'm overeating, I'm eating too much, I have too many calories, but a lot of times it could also be because you are under eating. And when you're eating too little, what happens? Your energy becomes low, your protein is poor, and your body is just frankly under stress. Now your body's going to do whatever it can to hold on to that fat. Either way, both of these things, overeating, undereating, is going to slow your process down. I'm going to tell you a quick little story. I went and got a DEXA scan, and one of the things I like that the DEXA scan guy asked me when we got to the part about eating, he said, am I eating in a way that supports fat loss and muscle retention? And here recently, I had to go back to that, and I had to ask myself, am I eating in that way? Supports fat loss and muscle retention. And if you lead with that, you're going to lead with that protein first, and you're also going to lead with fiber and drinking the water. So that's a very different question from, am I eating enough? If you think about it in those terms, hopefully that will be helpful for you. The next thing I want you to do is prioritize protein like it really matters. Again, you're eating because you are trying to lose fat, gain muscle. Hopefully you're doing some strength training out there, especially if you're a woman over a certain age. But I would say all women and men should be strength training and try to build that muscle. If you are one of those people and your weight loss has stalled, look at your protein intake. I will share with you, my doctor told me, now this is just me, you would have to check with your doctor, but to get in at least 80 grams of protein, that's a start for me, up to 120. Now, you might hear a little bit less, you might hear a little bit more, whatever works for your body, but that's my goal. So if I get at least 80 grams up to 120, I'm happy. Now, really, I try to aim for 90. If 80 is the minimum, I try to aim for that 90. But that doesn't mean that that is what is best for you, especially if you have things like kidney issues going on. I would definitely check with the doctor. So that's also going to help support your weight. Now, a lot of people fall too low with the protein. So I want you to ask yourself, if you are in a stall or a plateau or believe you're in one, am I building my meals around protein first? Am I getting protein at breakfast? Start the day off with that protein. Am I relying too much on snacks instead of balanced meals? Sometimes the fix is not dramatic. As you can see, it's just fixing that protein intake. So cheers to you for getting that protein in. The next thing you can do is track for a few days, not forever. I know people are like, oh my goodness, not the tracking, Downsizing Diva. Yes, you want to track. Some people just hate tracking, and boy, do I get it. But with that said, I want to tell you that tracking for 3 to 7 days can be eye-opening on your weight loss journey. And remember, we're trying to figure out why we have stalled, why our weight loss has plateaued. So you might have to do something you don't want to do short term to get a long-term victory. Just don't obsess about it. Just get it for the pure data of it, get what you need, and then move on from there. So these are some things you may realize. Your protein is lower than you thought. Your calories may have crept up and you may not have known that. Your portions may be bigger than you think they are. Your weekend eating looks very different than your weekday eating, and that's possibly where you're getting more or less calories. And your snacks are adding up fast. I want to also add here too that you may be under eating. So those are some things that are going to slow you down. When you can identify what those are, guess what? Now we can target those things and fix them. So awareness is powerful. In education, we like to say, what gets tracked gets measured. So start tracking, even if it's just for a short time. The next thing that can help break a stall or a plateau is movement. Movement here is key. This is something that I have struggled with and tried to incorporate in addition to my strength training, and that's some type of movement. Usually I'm incorporating those neat movements, especially after dinner. I'm not someone who loves to walk outside, so my movement involves doing things around the house, cleaning up, going up and down the stairs, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, packing my daughter's lunch, straightening up the kitchen, organizing things, just moving my body. So I'm not saying you need to become a gym rat, because Lord knows I'm not. I'm just saying you need to be conscious of your movement and move more. A lot of times when we're losing weight, our energy could be a little bit lower and we start to move less. So we just want to be conscious of what we're doing and how we're getting in steps. And if you think about it with steps, maybe that will make it easier. Think about 10 to 20 minutes of doing some sort of movement after you eat, or even each meal, if you could fit that in. Maybe you can fit in exercise at lunchtime. So however you can get that movement in, you should do it. I'm going to tell you, strength training matters more than you think, especially when you're taking a GLP-1, because you could be losing weight rapidly, and then even if your weight stalls, you want to make sure that you're maintaining that muscle. So I would say get strength training in 2 to 3 times a week. Do more if you can do that. I would also suggest that you walk 10 to 15 minutes after a meal, especially at dinner, because that's when we tend to slow down. But the scale is one measure, but body composition is another. So if you have stalled out, you're not losing weight, you've hit a plateau, pick up those weights, get that strength training in, move that scale over, and bring in that measuring tape. And you will see, if you stick with it, you will soon or later be out of the stall. So it's just really, you have to have patience, but you can do it. So that brings us to something else you need to look at is, are you getting enough sleep? This is key, the sleep of it all. Don't ignore your sleep, stress, and hormones. They all play a role in weight loss. If your sleep is off, your stress level is high and your body is inflamed. And guess what that's going to lead to? The scale not moving the way you want. So for many women, especially women in perimenopause or menopause, this is going to be key. Hormones can absolutely make your weight loss feel slower, messier, and even less predictable. That doesn't mean progress is impossible. That just means that your weight loss may take time and you may have to deal with those hormonal issues before you see any weight loss. So I would advise you to check with your doctor if you're having perimenopause or menopause symptoms, which could include not sleeping, hot flashes, brain fog, irritability, mood swing, frozen shoulder, things like that. Your doctor will be able to help you sort through a treatment plan for you and your hormones. Just know that your weight loss may be a little slower, or you might have weeks and weeks where you're not losing. But once you get your hormones, your sleep and stress under control, and stay consistent with doing the things that we talked about in this video, your weight will move. Just be patient. The next thing you want to look out for is just to make sure you're not constipated. You want to make sure you're eating fiber, between 25 and 30 grams of fiber. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water when you're eating a lot of fiber, because you're going to get your bowels moving, which is really what you want. Sometimes your weight loss could be slowed down due to constipation. So let's just deal with that. You want to ask yourself, am I regular? Am I getting enough water? Am I eating enough fiber? Am I getting enough movement in? All of that is going to get your bowels moving. So it might not be glamorous, but let's just keep it real. Stop comparing your journey to the fast losers. Are you doing that? Now, so this is a tough one because I know it's easy to look to your left and look to your right and see what other people are doing and compare yourself. But I'm going to tell you, this is going to slow you down even more because it's going to spike up that stress hormone cortisol, and you're going to be so stressed out that they're losing and you're not. One of the main reasons we shouldn't compare is we don't know what other people's bodies are dealing with, right? We don't know. It could be someone the same age, the same height. They could have started at the same weight as you, but we don't know those other things that they have going on in their bodies. And not for nothing, they could be taking other supplements and different things that you're not even aware of. The best thing you could do for yourself is not compare. Why? Because slow loss is still a loss. So you want to focus on progress, not perfection. Another thing you can do is go and talk to your healthcare professional. And you might be saying, why? Why do I need to talk to them? Hopefully you have a relationship with a healthcare professional, your doctor that knows your body, knows how your body works, a history of what you have going on with your body and your health. But if you do not, you want to establish that with someone as soon as you can, because they're going to help you know when your dose needs to be evaluated. What about the side effects that could be affecting your nutrition? They might also know some other medical issues at play. Maybe your current plan and what you're eating needs to be evaluated. So someone who knows your health journey is going to be able to assist you with all of that. If you're in a stall and you go for weeks and months without losing, definitely talk to a doctor. And finally, this is something my channel is all about, and that is if you are in a stall, if you're stuck in a stall, I want you to stop right now and I want you to think about all the great things that are happening with your body that are not related to the scale. So this is what we call non-scale victories. Ask yourself these questions. I had to write these down. Are your clothes fitting differently? Do you have less food noise? Are you making better choices consistently? Do you have more control around food? Are you walking more? Are you drinking more water? Are you eating more protein? Do you feel better in your body? Did all these things happen before you hit that stall? And are these things continuing to happen even throughout your stall? So if that is true, this is a victory for you. So I would say focus on that. Think about the glass half empty and not the glass half full. Do not beat yourself up. I just received a comment on one of my community posts just today of someone who was telling me how she was beating herself up because she is no longer losing weight. This is why I made this video, for people like her, like myself, and like you. If you made it to the end, you're really invested in this video because you may be someone, or you may know someone that is on that slow and steady weight loss, or they are a slow responder. Slow responders can go months and months and months without losing weight at all. I want to tell you, hang in there. Hang in there. Because if I had quit, I think back to times in my journey, I'm over 2 years on this Mounjaro journey. There were times in my journey where I hit a snag, where I just wasn't losing, times where I was doing all the right things and wasn't losing, but there are also times where I was not doing all the right things and not losing. On both of those times, I thought, geez, Louise, when am I going to see movement? And I said to myself, those are the times when I hit that reset button, not restart, because there's a difference. I'm not starting from scratch. I've been in this journey. I've been in this fight. I've had to reset myself and ask myself, am I doing all the things? I like to think of all the things as basic, right? Eating in a calorie deficit, eating more protein, hitting my protein goals between 80 and 120. That's the range I gave myself, and my doctor approves. So those two things, drinking water, getting the movement in, or doing that strength training, getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That's been a constant goal, and I have been successful at hitting that 8 hours so many nights since I set a goal to do it. So those are things that you can do to get that scale moving. And if you need support with that, see your doctor, because if you have a struggle with that, maybe it's time for you to adjust your dose. So with that said, focus in on all the great things that are happening with your body. Sometimes the scale simply needs to catch up with your body. How about that? The scale needs to catch up with your body. If your weight loss has stalled, don't panic. Don't get scared. Don't quit. What you need to do is any of these steps I mentioned in the video, start off with 1 or 2 and stack them up as you go. If you can do one thing, try that for a week or 2, and then stack another habit or lifestyle change on top of that. And then do that for a week or 2. Now you're doing 2 things. Stack that third thing. I think the overwhelm comes when we try to do everything at one time. And if you're someone who's struggling with doing one thing, are you going to now be able to incorporate 5, 6, or 7 things? No, so you have to stack those habits over time and give yourself grace, right? Be proud of yourself when you do that one. Now that you have the 1 down, add the 2. Now, maybe it takes you more than 2 weeks to get the 1 habit down. That's okay. Take as much time as you need, but perfect that one thing that you can incorporate as a change and then move to the next one. So I just want you to be successful. These are some of the things that I too am dealing with. These are some of the things that I am telling myself. I am incorporating for myself. I am going back and watching my own videos because even I have to be reminded not to give up hope and not too quick and to stick with it. And I will say this, if I had not been thinking this way and focusing on my journey and shut out all the noise about what everybody else was saying, I would not be 80 plus pounds down. I just would not. I would be stuck back at 50 when I started to feel that first stall coming around. So hang in there. You can do it. Hopefully you have time. Because I say to myself, what do I have? I have time to take care of myself with this journey. I give so much of my time to everybody else. And I think to myself, take the time for myself to get this right. I'm not going to get it right the first time. I might not even get it right the 4th time. But eventually you will get it. The more you practice something, the better you get. If you're giving your best effort, then this is not for you because you're doing the best thing. You need to go straight to the doctor, right? Because you're doing all the things and you're not seeing any kind of movement. But if you're not doing all the things, and only you know if you're doing all the things, then give it your best effort. Do what you can do. And I always say, if you're giving your best effort, and that means what you could do now. Now, maybe 2 weeks when your head or your mind is in a different place, you can do even better. But for right now, do what you can do now and love on yourself. Don't beat up on yourself. You know, if you got that protein in, but you did something else you weren't supposed to do, give your credit for the protein and try to model that for the next day and cut out that one thing that you did that probably was not in your plan and build from there. So that's what I'm saying. Let's not overcomplicate this. Let's give ourselves grace, but let's actually give ourselves grace with a plan to move forward. So with that said, I want to thank you for watching. You've got this. You can do this. A stall does not mean your journey is over. It just means that you're at a stall. You're just staying still right now. But we're going to do things to get you back moving and reach your goal. I want to know in the comments, what part of your journey feels the hardest in a stall? Is it the mental, the scale, or is it staying consistent? What is it? Share that down in the comments with me. I want to thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I go live or upload a video. And don't forget to hype this video so this could get out to all the slow and steady losers in GLP-1 land or any weight loss journey. I just think that this video has some great strategies to help anyone succeed. If you need more support on your health journey, go down in the comment section and click on the link to join my Downsizing Diva Inner Circle group. This group is here to support you and help you on your health journey. Check out my stand store. I have a great GLP-1 starter guide for you to help you along on your journey. I have other tools and resources that can be helpful as well. Most of all, I want you to take great care of yourself. And remember, slow and steady wins the race. Just don't quit. The Downsizing Diva.